feeling on the inside that shows on the outside. It is particularly easy to tell when someone is stressed. From their sluggish movements, their slurred words, eye bags, stress pimples, their irritable attitudes even. Now, I won't ask you, what is stress? Neither will I define it for you, because I believe that when it comes to things like human emotions and feelings, it is difficult to get a definition that encompasses what it means to us all due to our different life experiences. However, the common denominator remains that stress is a negative feeling. It is something we do not wish to feel, but we do either way. As I grew older and progressed in my classes, I observed that there was a glaring difference between students, the stress-free students and the stressed students, particularly during exam season. You would have some students with eye bags looking dull and tired, with books in their hands and a distant look in their eyes as though they were trying to paint the words in the book in their mind. And on the other hand, we'd have students who were lively, energetic, and full of life the morning of the exams. This wasn't magic. They were the students who had started preparing for the exam weeks before the day. This takes me back to summer of 2023, mid-August to be precise. I remember my friends, Shalom, Sean, Danish, Rahila, and I creating a study group chat where we made several plans, many timetables, and countless to-do lists of how we would prepare for our pre-mock and mock exams, which were scheduled for December and January of the following year. But guess what? It's no surprise that our friend procrastination paid us a visit, and we didn't start preparing for these exams until the week before our pre-mock. During this time, I experienced the level of stress I had never experienced before. And this week, during that week, we practiced what I refer to as medicine after death. That is, finding the solution to a problem after the problem has already occurred. There we were, trying to down 3 years worth of learning in one night, less than 24 hours. Stressful. That's not even an adjective to describe what I felt at that moment. Well, this pushed me, prompted me to want to find ways to manage my stress, to minimize it. And the reason I use the word minimize is because I do not believe we can totally eradicate stress, as I like to compare being stressed to having the flu. You cannot totally cure the flu because the virus shows up in different variations of itself each time. Similarly, stress comes in different forms, tasks, and challenges each time. However, you can minimize the amount of times you catch a flu by boosting your immune system, wearing a jacket during winter, things like that. Similarly, I'm here to provide you with 4 methods to build a system that will help you minimize stress. Something I took away from James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, is you do not rise to the level of your goals. Rather, you fall to the level of your system. This is why we need to involve these 4 tips in building a system that helps us minimize stress. Number 1, meditation. I realized something very key during meditation, and that is, in order to keep track of time, I had to lose track of time. What do I mean by this? When you meditate, it transports you from your state of natural consciousness, your state of awareness, to a state where you merely exist, where the concept of time is nothing but a faraway dream. When I meditated, I realized that time traveled very fast, and I had little of it, and this was why I should use it efficiently and effectively. Number 2, planning. The thing about us humans is that we like to look at the bigger picture, the biggest cake, the bigger painting, but we fail to realize that the bigger painting is made up of tiny strokes of brushes against a blank canvas. The large and daunting task is what makes us feel overwhelmed and lazy to accomplish a task, because we look at it as one large unit. When you break this large unit of a cumbersome task into tiny bits, you make it easier for yourself to accomplish these tasks. For example, assuming I had a PowerPoint presentation on architecture in Rome, how would I prepare for it? I would simply write it down. Day 1, look up pictures on architecture in Rome. Day 2, read articles on architecture in Rome. Day 3, save the template for my presentation. Accomplishing these tasks each day will make me feel encouraged and will help me remain consistent. Because one thing about consistency is that you need to plan. Number 3, stop overcommitting yourself. Learn to say no to people. Saying no to people doesn't make you a bad person. Rather, it shows that you are someone with self-respect. You respect your future self enough to decline unnecessary situations and unnecessary stress. So say no to people. If something doesn't fit your schedule, tell them, I'm sorry, I can't make it. I have a chemistry assignment to complete. Learn to respect yourself and say no. Number 4, learn to ask for help and be open to learning at all times. Asking for help doesn't mean you're dumb or you're stupid. It shows that you're confident in yourself, that you accept the fact that you do not know, and you're willing to change the fact from not knowing to now knowing. So learn to ask for help and be open to learning. You would be surprised to find out that you would learn the most magnificent things from situations or people that you least expect. You can learn from people older than you, your classmates, age mates, and even people younger than you. And I would like to leave you with a bonus tip today. Come up with a slogan. It can be short and catchy, something that will help to remind you to stay on track. I started this year, and my slogan is, it's not about what you feel like doing, Salma. It's about what you have to do. This reminds me that it's not about whether I feel like accomplishing that task or not. Rather, it's about the fact that I have to and I will. So I would encourage you all to implement these 4 tips in your lives and watch how you transform your stress levels from peak to minimized. Thank you and have a good day.